DJ LeRoy.
NightWatchman, how you doing, buddy?
I'm well. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. How's your summer been progressing? Good?
Surprisingly good considering the world is gone crazy. It's been a great summer.
Have you heard that we have a new governor?
Yes, we have a new governor and a new lieutenant governor.
Yes, and lieutenant governor is actually one of Harlem's very own. Salute to I'm going to say the former state senator Brian Benjamin, the new lieutenant governor Brian Benjamin.
Absolutely. And also shout out to the new governor. Now, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, so tell me.
It is Kathy Hochul.
Hochul, thank you.
Yes.
I knew I was butchering it somewhere, but okay.
Well, you know what? One of the things that always continues, and you know what that is, NightWatchman, that is creativity, that is art.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to kind of like know, there's something special happening in one of our favorite rides, and that is Governor's Island.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to definitely kind of like find out what's happening, what's popping on Governor's Island. So why don't we bring some folks out to discuss that? What do you think?
Okay. So before we bring them out, tell us what is happening on Governor's Island.
Well, an art exhibit, an art explosion, an Artists-In-Residence, which I didn't even know about. And so we're gonna talk to two of the three Artists-In-Residence, and also a special consultant, and also a veteran of Soul Lounge Primetime, and that, of course, is Miss Saundra Heath.
All right.
Why don't you bring out Saundra? Yay, Saundra!
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Hello.
Okay. NightWatchman, where's that jar? Where's the
Hello.
How you doing? Welcome, Saundra.
Hey.
How's everything?
Everything is fantastic. It's really good to be with you today.
I thought that all of your time was spent, let's say, running and actually making sure that the Heath Gallery was on top of its game. But I understand that you're doing other stuff. How are you able to do that, Saundra?
It's what art folks and it's what women do. Women you set me up perfectly for that. Women always wear multiple hats. And
absolutely.
So yeah. So it's a pleasure, to serve as an advisor to ArtCrawl Harlem. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, one of the artists who's out there as an artist-in-residence at Governor's Island is Mr. Michael Umbaile.
Yes.
Yeah. Michael.
Hi. Hello.
All right. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Well, as NightWatchman, as you already had pointed out, he came prepared. He has the art in the background. He's ready.
Right.
He's ready. So Michael, before we start, I'm going to bring out the other artists in residence, and then I'm going to have you guys speak about your journey, okay? And also what this artist in residence is all about. Mario Joyce, my brother, what's up, man?
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh man, welcome. And NightWatchman, like I said, don't be grooming him to take my spot, okay? I still got a few more years left, okay? but you know what? Let us actually talk about this artist in residence. And Saundra, I want to know how you actually became involved as a special advisor to this project.
Sure. Well, number one, first, ArtCrawl Harlem and the residency on Governor's Island, it's part of a number of residencies that are in houses there. Post COVID, the Lower Manhattan Council opened up these houses for different arts organizations to sponsor residencies. And so this is the second year of ArtCrawl Harlem sponsoring a residency, creating a residency for artists. And it's a wonderful opportunity for artists. It provides visibility, it provides studio space. Built into the residency is an opportunity for artists to show their work during the time that they're there. Folks are, invited in, so they have a chance to engage with art lovers. But how I got involved in ArtCrawl Harlem, my relationship goes back to the beginning. When we first launched Heath Gallery, I also created something called the Harlem Gallery Owners Association. And that was created to bring gallery owners in Harlem together so that we could begin to collaboratively advertise. And Evelyn Archer was the owner of Canvas Paper and Stone Gallery, and then Jackie Orange. They were already, I think, doing some work together with tours, but they came to one of the meetings and raised this idea. They said that they had this idea, and I've said, and others in the room said that we thought it was a great idea. I then met with them later on one-on-one to just, kind of talk through it. And shortly after, they launched this trolley tour, and Heath Gallery was one of the founding galleries on the trolley tour. It was great in many, many ways because also one of my youngest daughter curated an exhibition for, I believe it was the second tour that we were on, and it was published. And so my relationship with them has been really has been over the years. I'm currently serving really as unofficially as an advisor. More formally, I provide professional development services for the artists who have been selected for the residency.
As a matter of fact, because I remember the last time that you came, because your background, if I'm not mistaken, Saundra, is banking.
No, my background is actually marketing, public relations, marketing. Advertising, brand management. But what has happened is that over the years of working with artists and thinking even about how we came to be as a gallery, and my husband is an artist, and some of the things that I've seen in an artist's journey and the things that I've seen over and over and over and over again, I realized that there's a development need, that artists have also, and that I have, this expertise that I've accumulated over the years. And so ArtCrawl Harlem becomes a great way, to share that. And I also have consulting and courses and those kinds of things that I offer.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Michael, please give us some background and tell us about your journey to the forefront in terms of art. Do tell. And also, are you from New York City or elsewhere?
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Michael Obele, and I'm a visual artist. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, but I presently live in New York City.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, art, it's something that has been part of me all my life. I basically started drawing as a little child. I guess I missed the memo. As a baby, as a kid, when your parents take you to school, they want you to learn how to read and write. In my case, I thought every child go to school to learn how to read, write, and draw. And my ability to be able to draw subjects and images exactly the way I see them, it was a talent. Because, at then as little kids, you go to school, the teacher teach you like how A, B, C, D, and how to spell A for apple, and you draw the apple, and you draw the apple. So as a little child, I thought that. So you say A, then A-P-P-L-E for apple, then you draw the apple. So I thought that as you learn words and numbers, that's how you learn about drawing everything. So growing up as a child, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, I've been drawing everything I see and trying to get it accurate, because if you have to be good in English and you have to be good in maths, you also have to be good in drawing too. So I did not know that me putting all this pressure on myself to be able to draw things exactly was a gift and a talent. And since then, realizing that, I've been grateful for it.
So beautiful. You have the new model. This is how we should do our educational system. Everybody should read and write, and then you have to learn how to draw what you just learned. That's great.
Exactly. Mario, do tell.
Yes. So my process begins with family history and genealogy. I learned a lot about my ancestors from my great grandparents, and I began drawing by my grandmother had a study, and inside that study, there was pictures of my ancestors, like frame to frame, really tight. And my great grandfather would sit in that study and watch John Wayne movies and tell stories about how he grew up. And I would hear the stories, and I'd look up at the wall, and there are my ancestors staring back to me. So they became characters very early on. And I would borrow pictures from my great grandmother if I promised to bring them back, and I would take them home and I would draw different. I would practice their face, different facial characteristics, and that turned into storytelling. Like I would create almost comic strips and narrate them verbally, but draw them out as the action was happening. So that's kind of how it started with my narrative practice. But I compile stories from my personal family history, and I use vintage collage materials between 1965 and 1999, and I collect those from all over the tri-state. And then I compile those in the Black male figure. And that it connects to me because not only am I using materials that were around when my grandfathers were coming up and around my same age, but it connects to the farm that I grew up on and seeing these materials in the farmhouse. And also I do landscapes that surround the Black male figure that nod to the soil that my ancestors worked but didn't own. And also to the farm that I grew up on, back to that. And I really came of age in the crops and in the fields because we were the only Black family. I mean, I was the only Black kid in school, and we were bullied mercilessly. So it was a way to unpack personal trauma. And then my work has kind of moved into unpacking generational trauma within the Black community.
Wow. What a story. You know what? So Michael,
Yes.
don't tell me necessarily that apples are your inspiration. Do tell me your inspiration in terms of your art. What inspires you? Gets you out there?
Like, one thing I believe about art is art. It's like a reflection. It's like the extension of the artist. So with the type of art that I do a very realistic charcoal pencil drawings, and sometimes I will color with pastels too as well. And my work, they are very realistic, and I love to draw portraits and portraits and just basically things around me, things there's a reflection of my environment, and things that's like an extension of myself. And with the type of drawing I do, I take my time, pay attention to it. I'm also a photographer as well, so sometimes I also take the pictures of the subjects that I draw myself. And sometimes I draw from photos from other photographers that I'm inspired by, and I put it together, and I take my time to develop it, to bring that photo into art and bring it to life as art. And the type of art I do, it's more with the intentional, like it has an instantaneous response because it's realistic. So you see that you know what it is. So it gets you an instantaneous reaction, but it pulls you closer to when you get to look at closely and see all the details and everything it took to bring it to life.
Nice. Saundra, I'm curious now. How did these talented folk? How were they selected? What was your process?
And I just excuse me, I want to reinforce really how talented they are. I've had the pleasure of seeing their work both in the house and outside of the house, and it's really wonderful. But they went through a jury vetting process. A call was placed out, the residency was advertised, and then artists who were interested had to submit applications. And there were, I think there were, excuse me, I believe that there were 6 of us that served as jurors. But, they had to submit samples of their artwork. They had to share their background. A couple of questions that I thought were also really important. They had to share why they wanted the residency, like why, did they actually need the physical space? And then they had to talk about what they were planning to do, like what were they planning to work on or create during the time. And these two gentlemen were part of a small group of winners.
Beautiful, beautiful. Congrats. Night Watchman, I got to drop a little dime on you, man. I've been out to see the exhibit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Didn't let me know you were going either. What?
You don't tell me everything. but now the onus is on you to get out there, bring your bike, and you will love it. You will be like,
That's
wow.
right. And when I see Mario out there, I'm gonna ask him to say, "Hey, Soul Lounge Prime." But I want to ask these brothers a question about the impact of having the physical space in the residency. And I imagine that in New York, for artists, well, I more than imagine. My wife is a performing artist who's been privileged to have an artist in residency, and I know that having a physical space for that measure of time is such a game changer, just in terms of being able to separate yourself from your regular space, set up a space that is not also your living room, dining room, office, and just really have a place where you can really just focus on what it is the story that you want to tell through your art. So can you tell us a little bit about the process and about having the residency and how it's affected what you create?
Thank you. First of all, I'm grateful to ArtCrawl Harlem Boundaries and Connections organization for giving us this platform, and also Governor's Island. It's amazing based on its own, like regardless of the residency. To the fact that they made that possible for us to have that space and that house at Governor's Island. I'm very grateful for that. Tremendous. The impact it's had on me, it's tremendous. For the first time, it made me more and more comfortable with engaging with people and actually have people see the process, how I get to create my work to life, and it's helped me with being more comfortable with interactions with different people to talk about art. And it's also helped in Wild Reach and creating as a platform to put the word out there, and I've been grateful for my experience there. The place, the house is at Nolan Park 4B. I invite people, I urge people to come out on the weekends, Sundays and Saturdays, to come see the work there and see the artists in residence. It's beautiful. The whole experience has been amazing, and I'm grateful for it.
Mario?
Yeah, this living in New York, as we all know, the spaces are just incredibly small and almost impossible for artists. I was in my previous apartment was, I think, 400 square feet, and I was doing 4 feet by 4 feet canvases in the kitchen, and just wherever I could put up anything. You just kind of as an artist, we problem solve and we get the work out there, we make it happen. But what ArtCrawl Harlem has provided for us is this incredibly inspiring space. Not only is the studio space crucial, it's going down there, it's getting to the ferry, it's the process of getting there, and then you're escaping Manhattan. And when I first got out there, I was a little overwhelmed because the environment was just so different. I'd never experienced anything like that, going from an urban space to something that's slightly rural and almost frozen in time. So I froze up, and I'll never forget when I first got there, my original idea, I just scrapped it because I saw a Black family setting up for a picnic and the lawn in front of the house, and I just started sketching them. And then it just started happening, and that's what the space offers, and that's why I'm so incredibly grateful. I see the harbor in one window, and then trees and this open lawn on the other side, and it's amazing. And then, you know, as my process and started to unfold in the house, I started to think a little deeper. Like from the pier, I would leave, and I'm thinking, you know, our ancestors, the Dutch sold them on this pier, and then I get to get on a ferry and create a body of work on Governor's Island. You know, I mean, what would they think? It's just, it's an honor. It's a true honor. So I can't thank the organization enough for this experience.
Beautiful, beautiful. Saundra, do tell, let's say, tell us what you think in terms of the significance of it being on Governor's Island, and also literally the Artists-In-Residency program that ArtCrawl is promoting.
Yeah. Number one, I think Governor's Island is definitely one of those like the best kept secrets. It was through the residency and visiting the artists there that it was my first experience going to Governor's Island. And I felt like, oh my God, as long as I've been living in New York City, I've missed this, because it really is an escape from the city. It's bucolic, it's beautiful, it's peaceful. There are places that you can stroll there and be close to the water. There are places where you can dine. Mary already talked about, you know, there being a place where you can picnic. But I believe that it's very important that Black folks, people of color, are represented on the island, that are represented in terms of having the experience, that are represented in terms of artists having residencies there. And I think that the ArtCrawl Harlem residency is very important, because not only, again, are artists provided the space where they can create, they are also able to sell their work. There have been sales of the artists right there in the house that just happen organically. You know, people come in and they want to buy the work. And then the chance to directly engage with your audience, with art lovers, with potential future patrons for you, in a way that's very, you know, you're not under the press of it being the opening reception night at the gallery. It allows for a very kind of natural, organic conversation. Those who come to the house, I believe, feel very comfortable in asking questions about the art, talking to the artist, and it's a great opportunity anytime an artist can talk to folk about their work and get people's reaction and understand what it is that the folk are seeing, and getting a chance to see if what they intended in their art, if it's connecting with people, and what are new things that people are seeing in their work that the artists may not have seen or even intended when they were creating, but yet this is what is being revealed. So I think it's extraordinary. And if we think about what we have all been subject to with the COVID and just the kind of angst that it's creating, to be able to get on that ferry, travel across the water, be in this space that while it's an indoor space, the way the house is built, the way the porch is built, there's a big front porch, there's a area in the back. Even though you're inside, there's a feeling of being outside, if that makes sense. And I just think it's refreshing and important for artists to have these kinds of experiences.
Beautiful. And you know what? Since, of course, the Heath Gallery being right there in Central Harlem, across the street from Marcus Garvey Park, I just want to know now, and you mentioned COVID, so how have you been able to pivot during this time?
Yeah, our pivot has really been stops and starts. Last year when everybody had to shelter in, like most, we closed our doors and we did some virtual things. And then when we were able to open the doors again, we did that and put all of the CDC guidelines in place in terms of masking and social distancing and all of that. And then when they said that COVID was gearing up again in the winter, in December, we shut our doors again and said we just have to watch and see what's happening, here. And we reopened in May with we had 2 exhibitions actually when we were able to reopen last year. We were scheduled to do an exhibition. They said things were starting again. We didn't even follow through with that one. We just shut everything down. And then we reopened our doors in May with an all women's exhibit. And then we're celebrating our 19th year in business as a gallery this year. Nice. And so we currently have an exhibition of my husband's work. And, what we're seeing, we still have, the CDC guidelines in place. And even though they, did the thing where they said you don't have to wear a mask, and if you come inside our place, you've had to have a mask, regardless of what they said, and
gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm curious, gentlemen, in terms of, let's say, traveling, as Saundra pointed out, literally you're technically still part of the New York City environment, but it's a totally different atmosphere when you arrive on that island. Has COVID been a part of, let's say, what inspires your work now, Michael?
Good question. Like I said, like art, it's a reflection of the artist and it's a reflection of the environment, and definitely, it's been a part of the work during the COVID. It actually showed in the type of work that I did during that time, and going to Governor's Island with the whole experience of everything in the lockdown, it felt good. It felt great. It was something I got up to go to every day. And after just coming through a period of time where we didn't really have to get up to go nowhere, the meetings is virtual, everything is communication over my mobile devices. So I started my residency towards the end of April. So basically like the whole of May and June of this year. So it was like fresh to feel. It made me feel like, okay, it's almost like it felt like some form of normalcy. So that really, the experience with the residency kind of like was a recovering mechanism for me, I would say. The whole lockdown experience, having to go get out there. And I live close to a ferry. So I actually take 2 ferries to it. So it was a whole experience. I take the first boat all the way down there, then I connect to the ferry going to Governor's Island. So it's every day. I do that day, and just so that actually prepares you. You go in with a mission. You go in motivated, like, and enjoying the whole experience all the way down the NYC ferry on the East River, seeing Roosevelt Island and seeing Manhattan and seeing Long Island City, and getting to switch to the boat, taking you to Governor's Island. And you have to remember, I'm not from here. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria. I've lived in New York City for half a decade now. So this also something, it was also tourism for me in a way, actually going to see something new. And I have folks and friends that have lived here for a while. And the first time they ever been to Governor's Island was because we invited them to come for the residency to see the artists. It's beautiful. It gave me this very good New York vibe. Every day I get to experience it. It's like I'm getting a pan shot of, like the way you see the movies. And I came and getting there, Statue of Liberty is on the other side, and Governor's Island has this whole rich history. I'm learning more about the place I'm living, and not just about what's in the present. Because COVID put everybody in the present, and there was a lot of noise about the whole situation. But Governor's Island was still a way for me to still, okay, there's history too, and people have been through things in the past, and they've made it thus far. And I appreciate the whole experience. And definitely, the residency was basically what I would say, and that was when the vaccinations came out. I got vaccinated too, so it was basically my welcome back to a little bit of form of normalcy, still and I'm grateful for the whole experience. So yes, the COVID situation and me and this residency at Governor's Island, it's the impact was definitely, I felt it.
Nice, nice.
Michael, I got a question for you, Michael. What brought you to New York?
Oh, would it sound cliche if I say art?
Okay.
Yeah, but when I moved to the United States, first of all, I lived in Miami. I wanted to pursue my master's at that time. Then eventually I decided to move to New York to basically pursue my career in general in life as a person. And art is who I am, and I'm an artist. So that was basically one of the main goals, to build myself as a man. I got to do what I know how to do best and do it well, and also willing to learn. And like I said, the art is a reflection of the artist. So as I grow every day, it shows my art, the development and the difference and in technique. And so yes, I would say the answer is art.
Gotcha. Mario, do tell in terms of COVID, is it part of the inspiration in your art now, or what? Tell us.
You know, I was thinking about this, and Michael said it really beautifully. Like it's so different now. These are different times, and subconsciously, yes, I think there's a lot of ways that it has affected my work in terms of solitude and reflection and peacefulness. Is kind of what I've been experiencing the past year and a half. And not intentionally, it's just kind of happened. And I've been able to focus in a way that I never really got to, in the before times. So I think that's the things I notice in my work. As far as the journey during, COVID to get there, it's a long way to get all the way from uptown down to Governor's Island. But I think it's a way you go through so much, and the mask is on, and it's so intense. Being on MTA is so intense.
Yeah.
And people wear their mask or they don't. And, there's complications with that. And so you almost have to fight for your practice in a way. And then get on Governor's Island. And like Michael said, it's like fresh air, and you feel like you're removed from the slight chaos of the city during these times. So I think that's been the most interesting observation with that. And also in the house, I think in the house it's really interesting. We're strict. You have to be vaccinated, you have to show proof of vaccination, and mask on. So we don't play.
Gotcha. You guys self-police each other and whatnot, and make sure that everybody's following the protocols.
Oh yes.
And you also have Ulysses Often, the executive director.
And Ulysses, no joke, no, he don't play. I know.
No, he doesn't play. And I think it's wonderful that he spends, a fair amount of time coming through the residency, and he will kind of stand guard at the front, to make sure that the artists, number one, are free to just create and are not being constantly interrupted by people who want to come in and see what's going on and engage with them, but also to make sure that they stay safe, by people following the guidelines that have been given.
Absolutely. Do tell now, Saundra, the Heath Gallery has been in Harlem for a number of years.
Yes.
And certainly long enough to remember, you remember this event that would happen around Marcus Garvey Park and being Harlem Arts Festival?
Yeah. Yeah. Harlem Arts Festival that took place about 5 years.
Correct.
Yeah.
So any thoughts to maybe reviving that? Because certainly there was also a platform for, let's say, unknown or emerging artists getting their craft out there for display for Harlem folk, as well as, of course, we know tourists coming in. Any thoughts to maybe bring that back?
Sure. Well, even before the Harlem Arts Festival, there were the different studio tours that a number of organizations conducted, and it was really individuals who launched these tours. And there were a couple of different ones, and I think that level of engagement with the arts is very, very important. What it does is that it engages the community, and I think connecting the community with artists and being able to normalize conversations around art is really, really important. And I know actually there's Calabar Gallery is, even as we speak, is looking to relaunch their art stroll. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with kind of the quiet in the air post-COVID, to make sure that this engagement, continues.
Excellent. Because certainly we know some folks have not necessarily made it out to Governor's Island. So
Right.
how will I see Mario? How will I see Michael? How will I see Melissa, for God's sake? Bob, how are you going to see them? So is there a plan after their residency is over for them maybe to go on a tour, the Governor's Island Artists-In-Residence tour, to make it more accessible?
Yeah, I think that each of the artists should, speak specifically to what their plans are. But I know that as part of the residency, there's always an exhibition, whether that exhibition is there at the house or whether the exhibition is off campus. And I believe that there is something that is being planned for November, and that's really an important part, of the residency, for the work that the artists have created there to be exposed. But one of the other things that happens, because there are people still who do not want to go out, and everybody's not in New York, typically there is a virtual highlight, a virtual tour, a virtual conversation where the artist has a chance to show their work.
Okay. Michael, post Governor's Island plans.
Okay, thank you. I moved into the residency house first earlier this year during spring, and I've completed my program for the time that I've been there, and post the residency, it's changed some things, and I felt the impact. Like I actually just got back from Atlanta, Georgia, Monday. I had an art show there over the weekend with Pop Basil, and that was a great experience. And so that all of that is one of the things, and part of other things that I'll be part of in the future, and I'll be letting the people know as when it's time to roll them out. And it's also the residency experience kind of almost felt like a graduation class for a style of art that I've been doing for the past few years. A lot of people know I work with charcoal pencils, so my photos, my drawings are very realistic, and they're in black and white and mixed with colors. Sometimes actually you could see behind me. But for the residency, it felt like a graduation class from that to move on to like some pieces that I'm working on, and more that I'll be doing after this one. They're all gonna be all full color, and that's something that like I'm now like ready, I'm comfortable and then doing to show the people. So it's been grateful, and experiences like having to do this interview with y'all and other things that I've been part of since after the residency, I've been grateful. So since I left the house in June, like I went on a little vacation and I came back, and it's been work and more work coming, and I'm very grateful for it. So thanks for Boundaries and Connection organization.
Mike said something that I think it's important to help distinguish this residency from often typical residencies. Often residencies, you have a group of artists who are in a space together. And this particular residency, there are 4 artists, and each artist has 6 weeks in the house by themselves. So they are, they're not with other artists. The house is theirs, and nobody else is, coming into the house really, except those who are visiting, and there are specific times. And then the executive director, Ulysses, will come. But that's really the beautiful thing. The artist has this space alone.
Saundra, thank you for clearing that up. I thought all you guys was like Animal House, and all you guys had to like navigate this stuff. But okay, so it's one at a time.
It's one at a time, and they have the opportunity to put their art. They get to own the space, so they can put their art up around the space. It's you know, they can, you know, they have the entire space to do whatever kind of physical studies they want to do, you know, with their work. And I do have to say that there is a part of the space is being right now devoted to I believe it's called the Generation X project or Gen project, and that's something separate. But beyond that, and I believe that they're there only on the weekends for a short period of time. But beyond that, the space is entirely the artist, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah, that is really, really nice.
So Mario gets to do his 4x4 piece without having to be 4 inches away from it.
Thankfully.
Yeah, yes, indeed. So as Michael said, the grind continues. So Mario, tell us about you and what's happening. Let's say post Governor's Island.
Yeah, I'm in Governor's Island until September 4th.
Okay,
and then I immediately go and I'm exhibiting at Future Fair in Chelsea during Armory Week with like the next weekend. So it's you know, that's like the grind does continue. And then after that, you know, being an artist, you have to be open to situations and invitations happening very quickly. So Ulysses is very busy. He believes in us. So I know he's doing his thing and setting up like future projects for us. And yeah, who knows? I'm open. So we'll see what's next, but it's all very exciting right now.
Beautiful. And NightWatchman, we would definitely love to see an exhibit of their work, you know, right in Harlem. What do you think, man?
I think it's great, but I want to ask Saundra some questions because I think that we don't often understand how important the role of the gallery owner is, because they not only have to kind of recognize and nurture talent, but they're also the bridge between the art and making a market for the art, the business side of the art. And so it requires a certain balance, a certain kind of yin and yang to do what you do. And Saundra, for you to do that and be coming up next year on your 20th anniversary in Harlem, just keeping any type of the doors open for 20 years in Harlem is worthy of applause right there. But I want you to tell us a little bit about just your journey and the joys and pains of being a gallery owner.
Yes, thank you for that opportunity. So how we got started, and something that we encourage all artists to do is, you know, doors weren't opening for my husband. He was later start artist. He was already many years beyond 40 when he started painting, and so older than that when he got ready to show his work downtown, and at that time the gallery district was considered Soho downtown. And to just, you know, shorten the story, he was knocking on doors. He you know, we thought he had an opportunity to show his work. We remember this was before the internet, but we rented a truck and piled his work. At that time, he was painting on furniture, took it down to the gallery. And so, you know, and the gallerist was outside, and we thought we were going to be unloading this truck. And all I can say to you is that my husband came back to the truck. I thought he was, you know, going to say we're going to start taking stuff out. He came back to the truck, got in, and we drove away. And he let me know that showing the gallerist his work was not going to happen. So we decided that we had to define what his career was going to look like ourselves, and we had to determine that if nobody else was going to let him show his work, then we were going to create an opportunity for him to show his work on our own walls and invite others to do the same. So with no art history background, with no gallery background, with no you know, money, with no deep-pocketed friends, you know, we opened our doors and relied on the support of our community, which has supported us then and which has continued, you know, to support us. And you know, we've figured it out as we've gone along by defining again who we wanted to be and what we thought a gallery was. And the funniest thing to me is that I remember when we first opened, we were serving these huge plates of food, like you might find at a after church dinner. And we hired my daughter and one of her friends to pass hors d'oeuvres. And I remember they were all dressed in black. And we still have pictures and we laugh at them all dressed in black and with their silver trays, walking through, the crowd. And gone are those days. But I think the thing that's really important is artists have a lot of options. And some artists choose to work directly with clients and potential clients. And some artists have hybrid careers where they sell directly and sell through galleries. And then there are artists, particularly at certain points in their career, where they're looking to, get into museums and get into certain collections where they may only want to work exclusively, with galleries. So there are a lot of options. But I think the most important thing, even if an artist is working with a gallery, that it's approached as a partnership, and that each partner has to do their part to make sure that it's a successful relationship. But whatever an artist chooses to do, they have to remember that they are the lead and the captain in their career, and that there are lots of options that they have.
Nice. One of the things that I saw, Michael, that in terms of the art that you focus in terms of your medium, you do pencil and oil,
No,
but you also. I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
pastel.
Pastel. Okay, gotcha. And also, so you use the camera as the basis for setting up your subject.
So I draw from sometimes I draw from photos that I take myself. I'm also a photographer, and sometimes I draw from other pictures that I'm inspired by. So that is like a reference point, and then I do diligence to it with my art and bringing it to life with art. And I started off doing this growing up because it was a thing where when I tell everybody that I'm an artist, the first thing they say is draw me. You meet somebody that in third grade, you say, hey, I'm an artist, they say draw me. So I felt like that was the goal. That was the to get to where you're able to draw somebody look like the person that somebody else will walk in the room and see, and it will feel like a picture. So that was what actually put my interest in it. And over the years, my environment and everything around me has helped develop and harness my skill to be able to do it better. And now I'm with the photos that I take, I'm actually into wanting to tell more stories with the art. And the future arts that I'm making will be having multiple characters and not just only a single person portrait too as well. So I'm like, people should look forward to that. And it takes time to develop because it's intensive hours of paying attention to details and developing. So the pieces are slower to make. It helps you to learn patience a lot of because you think the idea you want to do in your head, you have the reference photo in front of you, but it's going to literally take you hours and painstaking hours of high intensity focus to be able to create it and bring it back to life and other elements you want in it. And also the finishing work, taking it to the studio, having it framed, the proper mat, the proper size, everything. Like it's all of the presentation. And and because of the type of art I do, it's very realistic. So your it is very instantaneous. And so that also made I also make prints for people that want to have the prints like in a different type of size, and the prints could come in paper, it could come in metal, ready to hang, and the original pieces are there too. And if you acquire them, you get the certificate of authenticity as ownership. It's you. I believe art. I believe art is an investment. I believe art is luxury. Art is something you purchase when you're feeling good about life and feeling good about yourself. It means something to you. Now it's a level you get to a status and a level in life where like you're comfortable, everything is you then, and you want to invest in art. and it's something you can pass down to generations. And even as me myself, it's something I can pass on to children and my children's children and everybody, and the value goes up with time. So if you purchase my art, you purchase value. You purchase something that, like, it's basically when you go to your friend's garage and you see cars, when you see a Lamborghini, you look at him like, what he do? So it's basically somebody's apartment and they see a Michael art. They know, like, for you to be able to afford an original piece of art, they look at you like, what you do. So it's a reflection of status too as well. So and it's something, it's an investment, something you could pass down to. It's something you can use as a collateral. Art can be used in so many ways, and I'm hoping to people who follow me in my journey and see different things they will do with it. Like it's a very beautiful thing, and I'm happy, and I'm so grateful to ArtCrawl Harlem, the Artists-In-Residency, because they really helped in amplifying a lot of the things that I felt on the inside. And I'm very grateful to Saundra herself. We had a very deep one-on-one conversations, and she really helped me delve into things, have me put hard thoughts into things, and I am growing and I'm learning, and I want everybody like to support artists, and like the value of the pieces. It's something like it's a status symbol. You want to enjoy. You want to have the art in your house.
Absolutely. So Mario, your various mediums that you use in your craft.
Yeah, I use, like I described, the vintage collage materials, and around that I use heavy applications of oil paint. So it took a long time. First, I used to use acrylic, and I got very comfortable with that. And then I when I went over to oil, they're just so different. But I love the texture that I can get from it and the color quality. So I'd use that. Now I use acrylic, and there's no going back. I don't even know how to use it really. It's like I'm totally into oil. But there's I enjoy some of the problem solving that goes with using certain materials. The collage it's sealed with a water base medium, and then I'm using oil paint. So it's the process of I mean, they should never meet, oil and water never meet. But they do. And I've created this process where I seal it and it's protected. So I do the collage first, and then I do the oil. So it teaches me patience, and then problem solving with the collage materials themselves, because when I'm using them from the 60s and 70s and even into the early 80s, the ink quality it's so different. So you have to, piece by piece, you have to learn the medium, the collage materials. You have to really understand it. I mean, if they can get waterlogged if you put too much water on it, or the next piece will get, you wipe it to seal it and you literally take the ink right off. So I have to learn. It slows me down, so I stick close to the narrative of the work, but it also it teaches me patience, and it sharpens my skills. So
nice.
I love it. Yeah,
Mario, I wanted to ask you, what brought you to New York?
Because I grew up in the middle of nowhere on that farm in Ohio, and I really didn't see anybody that looked like me. It's just I wanted culture. I wanted to see, real energy. I mean, where else are you going to go? I mean,
right.
New York is it. And living close to Harlem's just like icing on the cake. So I got to experience what different Black cultures look like, Caribbean and African peoples and people, Black folks from the South, and then people from the Midwest. And so I love seeing that. I love us. So it's really special to be a part of this community. And feel like I belong. So that's why, I mean, it was the only choice for me.
Any pushback from parents who wanted I want you to be a doctor, a lawyer, not an artist? Like, God's sake, go ahead, Mario, do tell. Because certainly, Michael, now I know Nigerian families. So right. So an artist.
Michael, you should be a doctor. You should be a doctor.
I have a good answer for that. So it was my dad's year with that. I think he was already in his 50s, right? And when I got better with my art, by the way, I've been drawing all my life, but I started professionally, took it professionally, basically made my first sale in 2012. So I was basically fresh and about to be out of college at that time and ready to be out there as an artist, because I went to an engineering school. I studied project technology. So my degree is engineering. So it's art. It's not what it's something I could do, but it wasn't out there in forefront all the time. So it was my dad's birthday in 2012, April 6th. I went back for the spring holidays, and my mom, I've done a piece on my mom some months back, and she loved it. That was the first time I did mixed media, black and white and color, and she loved it. She just kept looking at it every time it's in the living room, and she see the way my dad be looking at it every time during the dinner table. So it was his birthday, and she wanted me to make a piece on my dad, and I'm like, well, I'm professional now. This is what's gonna cost. I got paid a lot of bread to do that. Now, take it serious. Like, I don't know how else they would.
Got you. Mario, what was the talk in your household?
You know, it's funny. I was raised by my mom. She raised us as a single parent, and when we lived with my grandmother. So, and they, you know, shout out to Black women, because they will uplift you. And they just told me I could do whatever I wanted. There was no pressure at all. It was me that kind of got in my own way. So I didn't think I could be an artist. I just didn't see myself in that space. So until much, much later, but it was a lot of like trial and error. I started off as, psychologist or some sort of, medical field type of major, and then that lasted maybe 2 semesters. So, and then I had to fumble through many different career paths before I admitted, all while creating a body of work, but for some reason I didn't give myself that grace. So finally I just said, you know what, this is my calling, and just accept it. So, and then they love it, they're so delighted to be along for this journey.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So artists got art.
Yes. NightWatchman, you want to give us some thoughts, because I see the time. What do you think?
Well, obviously the time went so quickly. It's been so engaging to hear the journeys of these 2 artists and this wonderful gallery owner. And it ties so much into the history of Harlem, which has always been supportive of arts and culture. And it's always been integrated in the fabric of our lives. So in Harlem, the art is not just something that sits aside. It's something that's always been a part of who we are. And I think we have 3 people here who just are exhibiting that spirit. So I just want to give them each an opportunity to just say some last words before we wrap the show up.
Beautiful.
So let's start with Mario.
Yeah. I'm truly honored to be in this space talking with you guys. I mean, this is amazing. This is a dream. And just a thank you to ArtCrawl Harlem and to Saundra. I mean, we had a great conversation, and she really gave me some pointers on how to handle the art world, as a Black man. And it's just not a space that's very forgiving for us. So I feel like there's a lot of people that have my back and a lot of support. And I'm super happy about it. Thank you.
Michael?
First of all, I want to say thank you to y'all for giving me this platform to be able to talk to y'all, and I want to say thank you to Saundra. The conversations we had, they had a good impact on me, and in general, thanks Governor's Island and ArtCrawl Harlem organization for providing the space, and I just want to say, like I keep saying, the art, it's a reflection of the artist. It's like an extension of the artist. So I indulge the people to follow me. I evolve and be part of the journey of the art and support artists. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Saundra, you have the last word.
Sure. I just want to thank you both for inviting us on so that we could talk about ArtCrawl Harlem, so that we could share what a gem it is. I encourage art lovers and other artists even to follow ArtCrawl Harlem, to follow these artists, so that you are with them as they grow throughout their career. You have a chance to purchase their work and to get it now before it becomes more and more expensive. They are 2 of 4 artists that have were awarded residencies this year. So
tell us about the other two. What are their names?
The one is Melissa Sutherland, and the other one is oh my gosh, Mark. I call him Mark the Artisan, but you know him as Mark the Artisan. I've just blanked on his last name, but you can find him on Instagram as Mark the Artisan. But they're all very different artists, very wonderful artists, and I just encourage that you support them, that you follow them, that you engage with them now, and stay posted to see, what else ArtCrawl Harlem is going to do to the Black community, the broader community. The Black art community needs your support. We need you to show up. We need you to encourage. We need you to share. But what artists really need is for you to purchase their work, and galleries need you to come to the door and make a purchase. That's how the art ecosystem stays well and stays thriving.
Open up your pocketbooks, ladies and gentlemen. Open them up. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
You won't be disappointed. As Michael said, these are investments. And we thank you for investing your time with Soul Lounge Prime Time, live on WHCR 90.3 FM, 7 p.m. on Mondays, also on WHCR.org. And then you can find us live and in living color on YouTube and Facebook on Monday evenings at 8 p.m. Thank you for joining us, and stay well.